Do I have any passion, like in life?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to today's Rowdy Roundtable with our special guest and very good friend from SB Nation, Mr. Jeff Gluck.
Very good friend?
Oh, yeah, we're buddies.
We're presuming.
We've had beers in Dover, haven't we?
No, that's fine. I
I
thought that was an upgrade from, like, just friend or something.
Very good friend.
Very good.
We're simpatico, Jeff. Now, we're talking NASCAR, of course. My name is Best Masters. This is Buzz Cutler. And we're just thinking about the point system today, Jeff, because we look at it, and we see Kurt Busch in the lead. And you think about Kurt Busch and his season so far, and there's no real signature run that stands out. Then you look at a guy like Carl Edwards, and but for that wreck at Phoenix at the hands of Kyle Busch, the dude has a win, 2 seconds, and then that very bad finish. Still not enough to overcome Kurt Busch, whereas last year, Carl would be in the lead. Doesn't that strike you as messed up?
Maybe you just don't want to see Kurt Busch at the top of the standing. That's what's making you think of the...
Yeah, why do you
what
hate
has Kurt Busch done?
Why do you hate Kurt
Well,
Busch?
he has 4 straight top 10s. Nobody else has done
So 4 straight top 10s is better than 3 top 5s and a whatever the hell.
Welcome to NASCAR, right?
Right, but that's different than last year. So what you're...
But it's
I mean,
not
do you think
much
that's
different.
okay?
I mean, Carl Edwards is out by 1 point, right? I mean...
Yeah, but he's in second, not first.
Yes, he is.
So that's a pretty big difference.
NASCAR's always been about consistency.
Yep.
I mean, the bottom line. I think many fans, I would like a point system included. I mean, that rewards winning more. You know, I'd like to see them put 10 bonus points for a win, and really the guys that win make them go for it. You know, the guys that win like Carl, you know, they're up there. But that's not reality necessarily in NASCAR, because it's never been like that. Ultimately, you know, it's about the long season, and that's what we have. So, yeah.
But you know, don't we appreciate the fact that NASCAR values consistency over a 25, 26 race period?
I appreciate that fact.
You do?
I do. But I think the consistency should be consistent superior performances, not consistent average performances, because this system is an average finish system.
But I like, look, I'm not very smart. You know what I'm saying? As far as math.
We'll have you back.
So we can still be very good friends, even though we're not.
Yeah,
okay.
It's all right.
So, you know, just between friends, I can't do the math and all the stuff. So the simplicity of the point system, I look at it, you know, I type the standings every week and stuff, and I'm looking at it, and somebody's 30 points out, and I think to myself, well, that guy, if he gains 30 position on the leader, I mean, you know,
on that guy,
people in between,
30, right?
But that tells me he would be the points leader. And in the old system, you know, you didn't have anything like that.
Right.
It was even more complicated for my small brain.
NASCAR's goal clearly was to simplify the system. Their goal was not to change it in terms of weighting those finishes at the top more heavily. They achieved their goal. Now, we could disagree with their goal.
I do disagree with their goal.
But they did what they set out to do.
I thought you did agree with the goal.
I think
you like consistency.
I like consistency, but the consistency that I like is consistent top finishes or consistent superior performances.
So you want top 10s
For
and top
example,
5s to be
Carl
weighted.
Edwards has been magnificently consistent this year.
There's only been 4 races, though.
Right, but 75% of the time, he's finished in the top 2. And you're going to sit there and tell me he's not been the best, whether or not your criterion is consistency or not. If I'm saying my criteria is consistency, finishing in the top 2 75% of the time, that's pretty consistent.
But let me ask you this. Let's say a guy goes out and wins 10 races, right?
Yep.
And it just has these, you know, like a Kyle Busch before he was ever consistent at all. You know, a guy that would just go out, dominate these races, but then the rest of the time he crashes and does all this sorts of things. I mean, is that a championship guy, or is a championship guy the guy that comes and has like 30 top 10 finishes?
Matt Kenseth in 2004?
I feel like the championship guy should be in between those guys.
You're sitting on the fence.
No, I'm not. I'm saying
he wants it both ways, doesn't he?
I want the wins to count for the most. I want top 5s to count for the second most and top 10s to count for the third most, and everything else shouldn't really be worth that much.
You know what's funny is about the whole simple point system thing, it's not that simple. I mean, to debate and figure out, it's much more complicated than I think people thought it was going to be, especially when you go to the other tier series where nobody's getting any points these days for winning the races.
Right, that does complicate things.
That is weird.
I think you might have a couple winners in the trucks.
Truck, you don't.
But in Nationwide, it wouldn't surprise me if the winner never got any points. That all those races.
True. I mean, it's entirely possible that the Nationwide champion won't have won a race.
Yeah, it's entirely possible that the Nationwide champion will have like 2 top 5.
NASCAR needs, I tell you what, NASCAR needs Jason Leffler or somebody to win a race.
Step up.
Because if they need to have some credibility with the point system, and if the Nationwide champion doesn't win any races.
Well, Elliott Sadler can win a race.
He could.
You know.
He could.
He could.
But they need it to happen, though.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't. As
Elliott
observers
Sadler
or fans,
still has to beat the guys he had to beat last year. Just not as many of them.
Yeah, just not as many.
Or is it right? All right.
It has been interesting so far this season with NASCAR's new point system. Those are our thoughts 4 races in. For Jeff Gluck and Buzz Cutler, my name is Bass Masters. We'll see you next time.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.